Why don't you start us off this time?
Sure. All right, episode 2, Eyes Wide Open. We've got the Wikipedia synopsis pulled up here. I think we're just going to read that and then kind of go through our own take as we go through it. And then kind of like last episode, just go ahead and discuss how we feel about the characters at this point and our other segments.
Yep, sounds good.
So, Wikipedia says, as the town turns to faith and prayer to deal with star quarterback Jason Street's serious injury, Coach Taylor turns to an untested backup quarterback, Matt Saracen, to anchor the team. Meanwhile, tensions reach the boiling point between teammates Tim Riggins and Brian Smash Williams, and Jason's girlfriend, Lila Garrity, provides support to her fallen boyfriend.
That pretty much sums it up right there.
That is a excellent synopsis.
All right, this episode originally aired October 10, 2006. Directed by Jeffrey Reiner, written by Jason Katims. Let's get into it here.
Let's dive into it. Something that I thought, jumping straight into it, was really interesting and a good start to kind of dig into the diversity of the community, as it kind of starts off with the black church and the white church in town.
Yep. I noticed that too right away.
Smash Williams and his family kind of at one church, and really basically the rest of the football team, or at least the rest of our central characters at the white church, and kind of shows off the difference in praise style between the two of the churches.
Yeah. It reminded me, and Anthony just cracked his first grain belt, so we are off and running.
Wanted to make sure I got away from the mic enough that it didn't.
We still caught it. Yeah, it reminded me right away of the Martin Luther King Jr. quote that the most segregated hour in the United States is 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. And yeah, that was pretty evident right away. Pretty contrasting, contrasting scenes in the two churches. But yes, very segregated indeed.
And then right after church, we got Buddy Garrity pulling Coach aside.
Man, yes.
just trash talking Saracen, basically being like, this kid isn't gonna do it.
Yeah, right after they get done with a service where they're talking about Jason Street and praying for him and lifting him up and being there for the family, walk outside and Buddy Garrity's like, we're screwed, Coach. What are we going to do? We need a plan. Yeah. His quote was, best case scenario, Jason's probably out for a month. It's probably a lot longer than that, but we need a plan for Friday night. Heck, we need a plan for the rest of the season is what we need, Eric. So you tell me, you think little Matt Saracen can get it done? And Coach, I guess we're fixing to find out. So yeah, Buddy Garrity, not very high on the social or cultural IQ there to not room a little bit.
Not picking his spots very well.
Yeah, no.
As we'll find, a lot of the boosters in town do not pick their spots very well as the season progresses. Then the next thing I have written down, and it must have cut to this, was the next thing we got Riggins. He's drunk at the diner.
I got something a little bit before that goes along with the churches. So we have the black church, we have the white church. They're different in how they're approaching it, but they're still both like kind of speaking positively, hoping for a miracle, that kind of stuff. And then right after that, it cuts to the Riggins brothers, not obviously in church at all, driving down the road. Tim's in the back of the pickup with a shotgun shooting at nothing while they're driving down the road. And Billy Riggins, unlike the churches, is saying, he says something along the lines of like, I saw that hit. That street's not walking again.
Oh, yep.
So it's like this optimism, probably naive optimism from the churches, and then cut to the Rigginses, like just keeping it real.
Real, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
So meanwhile, we got Riggins drunk at the diner. Tensions kind of start to rise between he and Smash, who is also at the diner.
Yeah.
Some trash gets talked. Riggins almost, explodes basically. Well, I watched 2 episodes at once, so I'm like mixing things up.
Yeah.
But doesn't he kind of like, he gets angry at Smash. Smash says, walk it off, don't let this be whatever. And then as he's walking away, Smash says something like, lighten up, like God don't like ugly. That Riggins just...
Yeah, that was it.
Tears apart.
Yeah. Smash is already, much like Buddy Garrity, is kind of moving on and looking forward. Smash is already talking about how this is his team now, how they're not going to miss a beat because he's going to step up and he's going to be the star player. That doesn't sit well with Riggs. He is literally sitting in Jason Street's booth at the diner, which also doesn't sit well with Riggs. For the Big Rig beer tally, I don't know if we can officially count any official beers here, but he's definitely drunk.
Wrote down Riggs beer count, several off screen.
Yes. So, I think a conservative estimate, we got to be fair here because we didn't see it. So I think we just have to keep it conservative, and I'm willing to put 2 on the beer tally because it's got to be more than 1.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm all right with that.
Yeah. I want to move back just a little bit before the diner. Lila visiting Street in the cheerleader uniform. So she goes to the hospital room and she stops the doctor walking past to help hang up the get well soon sign or whatever it was, or Dylan Panther sign or whatever. And she's like, yeah. The doctor's like, I don't know. I just work oncology.
Yeah. I can't believe I didn't write that quote down because it was one of 2 quotes that made me like laugh out loud while watching it. The other, which we'll get to, and is my pick for quote of the week.
Nice.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So then we get some Tyra macking on Smash.
Yep.
Which ends up they're on the couch getting naked. Who knows what's about to happen, but Mama Smash walks in and in all her fury.
Yes.
And basically kicks Tyra out. But then she gets a little like, I think in a good example of just how small Dylan is for a woman who's more or less unrelated to the football team outside of Smash and who wouldn't care about normal high school relationships going on, that she's like, oh, is this to get back at Tim Riggins or something like that? It's like, why would Smash's mom know or care?
She sees right through it. She's all knowing and all wise, Mama Smash. My quote of the week submission definitely comes from this scene.
That's the other.
But we can save it. Yeah.
Yeah. The other line that made me laugh out loud. Yep. We'll get to that.
Yeah. For sure.
So then we've got some great Saracen and Landry banter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Where they're talking and Landry drops a quote, which is also I'll say this one because it's not my pick for quote of the week. I think we're both going to have the same quote of the week. So we'll go over this.
Yep.
That Landry's talking about, he's trying to explain how just because Matt Saracen doesn't play the same way as Street doesn't mean that he isn't also good. And he gives this metaphor about like, he's like, for example, my music, like you can't compare me to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he goes off about this. And then soon thereafter, we see Saracen giving an interview to some interviewer. And he tries to work the same metaphor in, but it just does not work.
It's a bomb. So, the original is, the problem is that they keep comparing you to Jason Street. You know what I mean? That's like comparing my music to the Red Hot Chili Peppers or something. I mean, I'm not the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, I'm my own thing. I'm not any better or any worse. I'm just different. And then Saracen replies, no, you're definitely a whole lot worse. Yes. And then, Saracen botches that quote. And then after practice, we get what I feel like is our first taste, a little hint of the Lila and Tim, little bit of sexual tension there. Mm-hmm. She offers that she's there for him. Also says that he needs to go see Jason or he's going to start taking it personally. But yeah, you get that first little glimmer there of something going to happen here.
And Riggins emotionally clearly not ready to see his friend in that state, but also kind of dealing with it in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Then Street finds out, the doctor lets Street and his family know that he's going to be paralyzed. Parents are kind of like a little bit in denial a little bit, but Street is just like, no, just give it to me straight. What's it, what's going to happen here? So he's going to be paralyzed from the waist down. Tammy and Coach are on a little date at Applebee's. Tammy lets him know that she's got a job as a high school guidance counselor, and Eric is pretty concerned, in his words, that guidance counselors can be a bit of a nuisance. He's worried that they're going to have some interaction, and
also upset that she didn't speak to him before.
Yes, there was
no
consultation. Yep. But that little disagreement, that little whatever, gets interrupted by the phone call letting him know that Street is paralyzed.
So there's a scene where Coach goes and talks to Street, and I can't believe I didn't write this down. I'm actually mad at myself for not. Yep. But there's another really great quote.
Yes.
Where they're talking about Saracen and or Coach and Street are talking about Saracen. And Street's like, he's different. He listens to Bob Dylan and draws pictures. This is a great line and a great way to describe a high school student in 2006.
For different. Sure. Yeah, for sure. But has good perspective there on telling Coach, like, you gotta coach this guy a little differently. He's got something to offer, but but he's an artsy boy. I also liked when Street asks, how's Saracen doing? And Coach is like, Saracen's good. He's throwing like a girl, but he's good.
Yes, that was a good one. I can't believe I didn't write that one down either, because I definitely I noted it. But it's good.
Yeah.
And we'll get back in a second to Saracen throwing like a girl, but I got to throw a shout out to our sponsor this week, the Alamo Freeze.
Oh, yes.
Dylan's own Matt Saracen working at the Alamo Freeze.
Occasionally hands out free drinks.
Yes, if he screws up your fries order, which he won't do. He's the hometown hero, Matt Saracen, that's working at the Alamo Freeze.
Right on. All right. So Saracen working at the Alamo Freeze, Landry hanging out, trying to help him with plays.
Yeah, trying to go over plays. It's too distracting.
Not going well.
It's not going well. We get a nice little scene with Mrs. Coach and Coach.
Yep.
Talking, and we get actually Mrs. Coach inspiring Coach.
Yeah.
And I really like the scene. I wrote down Coach very human with the word very in all caps.
Yeah.
A very relatable moment as he's trying to, figure out what exactly he wants to do with Saracen, what he wants to do with the season basically, or how he's going to come out of this particular moment.
Yeah. And really voicing the pressures. He says something along the lines of, we lose this one and then we go on the road and we lose a couple more and I'm going to lose my job and we're going to have to move, kind of that pressure that's mounting. And yeah, Tammy kind of reminds him of who he is and what he's done, and that he makes great quarterbacks, and that she believes in him completely. And it's kind of the first, Coach and Mrs. Coach relationship goals scene where it's like, oh dang, yeah, these two are pretty great. Yep. And really, Tammy's first. You get the first real glimpse of who Tammy is and what she's going to be too. Yep. Last episode, she was just kind of the person to show that Coach also had a family and a life. But yeah, Tammy's already starting to take off on her own a little bit. Mm-hmm. We also see Lila and Street in the hospital, and Street brings up the hard conversation of like, I'm paralyzed. What are we going to do? And Lila's just super in denial. And she has the super, super naive in denial line of, you are Jason Street and I am Lila Garrity. Everything is going to turn out just the way we planned it. And then she prays a prayer about it all being a test from God that they're gonna pass and they'll pull through. Yeah,
man. I think this is, we're pretty early on in the season, but I'm wondering if watching it, because I probably haven't watched these episodes in, I would say, a decade. I would say, well, not quite a decade. I think when I first moved to Brookings, which would have been 8 years ago, my roommate at the time and I tried to get him into it, and I think it just didn't take, or he had too much going on. But we had to have made it at least, 5 to 10 episodes into the season. Sure. And the reason I mention that is watching it the first few times that I did, watching these episodes the first few times that I did, I think I don't remember Lila being this like frustratingly naive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that's maybe a result of the first time I watched it, having been in my late teens and early 20s.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, watching it this time, I'm like, dude, you got a lot of life that's gonna really hit you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we get that picture of what happens in a lot of small towns where you just have a very, very, very small, narrow world view. You think you got it all figured out because this is all you know. And then life comes at you fast if you're Lila Garrity.
Yes.
And, yeah. It all comes crashing down, and we see, as the seasons go on, we see the result of that in Lila's life for sure. So, then we get the scene where Coach comes by Saracen's house, has his little interaction with Grandma Saracen. It's pretty nice, pretty funny. Takes him to the field, pumps him up. Kind of the first real glimpse of Coach as an inspirer and a motivator. Yeah. What'd you think of that?
I loved it. I had a real moment of like, oh man, yep, this is what I love about this show. Coach is so inspiring. You see Saracen kind of go from like, really meek to really getting pumped up.
Yeah.
And excited. And it's a really great scene.
Yeah. It's the turning point. It's the turning point for Saracen. Really good. I don't know. I find myself like almost wanting to be cynical and not wanting to like the super like meaningful emotional moments, but yeah, that I can't help it. It's just so good. It's super inspiring. Coach is the man. I love it. I don't know why I'm resisting, but
it's great. One moment that I did notice that I'm sure that I had noticed on previous viewings, but it's been so long, that when they go to the football field, Coach has just got some random dude waiting in the crow's nest. And you see him up in the crow's nest just like standing there with his hands on his hips when they first walk on the field. And I turned to Angie and I was like, who the hell's this random guy in the crow's nest? What's wrong with this guy? And because I had forgotten that it even got explained.
Yeah.
Like he's in several frames before, and it's just to turn up the like crowd noise to get Saracen pumped up so he can yell loud enough that his team hears him.
Yeah. Coach has a plan, man.
I guess I didn't watch the deleted scenes, but I'm going to assume there's one where it's like Coach calling up this guy and be like, meet me on the field, stay in the crow's nest. You're going to turn up the crowd noise.
Yeah. Little explanation. We'll come back to the kind of the biggest inspiring moment there when we talk about Coach's inspo rating or maybe quote of the week, but yeah, super good. Then we kind of get a montage of game day. I would like to point out that in this montage, the rally girls are bringing the players their stuff that they like. And for Saracen, his new rally girl that he got brings him like that cake or whatever. And then we see, I've never noticed this before, then we see Tim Riggins' rally girl hand him a brown paper bag at his locker. Did you notice this?
I didn't.
She hands him a brown paper bag and it clinks when she hands it to him, which means there are at least 2 bottles of beer in this bag. And that is 2 more beers on the Big Rig beer tally. Yeah. So I'd never noticed that before, but yeah, it clinks when she hands it to him. So then, yeah, it goes right up to the game. They're in the locker room. Coach makes his inspiring speech that is much better than last week's speech. Yes. And then kind of on the way out, he catches Matt Saracen. They have a little moment, and it's clear that Matt is ready to let her loose and go for it. And yeah, goes right to kickoff. Ball's in the air. Episode ends. So no actual football game for episode 2. Eyes wide open. And that's pretty much the rundown.
Yeah, that's the rundown of the episode, kind of a play-by-play. Should we do how do we feel about the characters with each episode? Go over them again? Or, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, we can do that. We can dig into them.
So we'll start with the Taylor family, how we're feeling about him. I am liking Coach more. He's more inspiring. I was a little off put by him being upset with Tammy for accepting the guidance counselor position, specifically the whole communication, the no consultation with him, as it felt a little dated as a concept.
Okay. See, I'm going to push back there, and this is a major family decision and has major implications, not just. And so, I think either way, a husband or a wife or even a child probably should consult with the rest of the family before they take a job. But I don't think that he should be holding her back from taking a job for any of the reasons that he kind of implied or talked about. So
I can come to a compromise with that.
Yes. But we get a little bit of that tension between Coach and Tammy. Tammy kind of wanting to not just be the coach's wife, but kind of be her own thing. And which causes some tension here and will continue to cause tension throughout for sure.
And moving on to Mrs. Coach. We like Mrs. Coach a lot more. She has a lot more to do, and a lot more upcoming to do, as she'll be working that guidance counselor job.
She gets a little more of her own, character. Like I said, instead of just being Coach's wife, she, again, is very likable. She is very good at being Coach's wife, as we see from that inspiring little pep talk that she gave him. Like, that was super good and super solid and super encouraging and loving. So big fan of Tammy so far, and I support her 100% in her career aspirations. Just let it go on record there. Jason Street. He's in the hospital for this entire episode, taking in some pretty hard news, and I think taking it like a champ for sure.
Yeah, handling it about as well as you could.
Yeah, which I think is kind of, last episode we talked about how he is a very upstanding role model. And I think even in this devastating situation, he's still trying to handle it like a role model. We don't see much grief happening yet or any breakdowns or anything, because he's trying to be brave and take it straight.
Trying to maintain his composure.
Yep. Keep it real,
and becoming more developed as a character, starting to, as opposed to just being possibly good athlete.
Right. Yep. Along with Street, we have Lila, who is
getting worse.
Yeah, staying by Jason's side, getting worse for sure. We've talked a lot about this, the naivety and the being in complete denial about the reality of things, and unable to accept anything outside of her kind of bubble of what she thinks her life should be and is going to be, and that none of that is happening, but she's not really accepting the fact that that is not happening. So yeah, pretty unbearable.
Yeah,
at this point,
it's tough.
Mm-hmm. Street's best friend, we got Tim Riggins. Also not handling it super great, but I think a lot more honestly than most.
Than Lila for sure.
Yeah, we get that glimpse of him in the tape room where he's just watching the hit that takes Street out over and over, and you can see him crying a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, taking it super hard. And then we have Smash. Smash is kind of relishing the fact that he's in the spotlight, I feel like.
Yeah, and getting involved with Tyra is a little bit not because of who Tyra is, but because she's in a semi-committed relationship with Riggins.
Yeah,
is a questionable move by Smash.
Yeah,
that I don't particularly support.
No, he has not come off very positively thus far in season 1. Big head making very jerkish decisions. Yeah, not looking great not a great look for Smash so far. But we do meet his mom,
yes,
who proves to be a pretty entertaining character. And actually, I have friends who lived in Austin, Texas, and lived just like down the block from Mrs. Coach, or not Mrs. Coach, lived just down the block from Mama Smash. And so they'd be like driving home and drive past Mama Smash's place, and there'd she'd be like out working on her lawn or whatever right there down the block from their house.
Is she not a professional actress, or was she just like a local hire that isn't like a professional actress, but just it worked out for her?
I might need to look into this, I guess. 5 seasons, and they filmed on location in Austin. All 5. Maybe she bought a house or something. I'll pull up the IMDb here. And she was in a few things prior to
that. An accomplished dancer and singer. Took ballet, modern and jazz dance from age 5 through her freshman year in college. She changed her major in theater after her freshman year. So yeah, she's got a pretty sizable IMDb. So I wonder if she, of course it doesn't say where she is from or anything like that, but.
Oh, she is from Dallas, Texas originally.
Oh, there we go.
Yep. All right. So Smash. And then we have Tyra, who,
making mistakes. Yeah. Making questionable calls again.
Yeah, she's with Tim in the diner when Tim is drunk. She's trying to convince him from going after Smash and making bad decisions, but you can tell she's kind of frustrated with that whole situation. But I guess I don't really see why she says she's not really with Tim anymore. Am I missing something, or?
No, there is a scene in the next episode where they kind of have a real blow off.
Mm-hmm.
But it does not happen in this episode, so I don't know what's
Yeah, it was just there's not a whole lot of explanation except for just kind of her exasperation at the diner. But other than that, I don't see a whole lot of reason why she decides to hook up with Smash. But that's mainly role in this episode.
The interest was kind of implied in episode 1 a little bit,
right?
So maybe that interest has always been there, and she finally was like, maybe the thing in the diner was just a boiling point, and she was finally like, all right, I'm going to go for it. Shoot my shot. Yeah.
Matt Saracen stepping into his QB1 role in this episode. What'd you think of Matt?
Yeah, he's coming along. Like I said, there in the scene on the field at night, you see the kind of transformation from meek into, confident.
Yep.
So we're seeing him develop into the player that he needs to be and that confidence that he needs to have. And we do get a line, I don't remember if it's in this episode or the next episode, but where he says something like, I just love playing football or something like that. And it's very like, oh, like, because in the last episode, we kind of talked about how we don't really know why he's on the football team or why he's a quarterback. Right. But apparently he's got a real passion for football, actually. So,
yeah. We find out for sure. I think we got hints of it last time. But we find out that his dad's in Iraq. Coach mentions that when Coach is inspiring him, taking him to the field and stuff. He says that he should be proud because he's got a lot on his plate and he's handling it with his dad being in Iraq and the pressures of taking care of his grandma and being the man of the house. So we're getting even more of a picture of just how much like responsibility has been heaped on Matt in lots of different areas. So, and he's still a good kid who's trying hard and doing pretty well. With Saracen, we've got Landry,
who, outside of his little, actually, no, he does have some good moments in this episode because I'm loving Landry more and more with the Red Hot Chili Peppers bit, which is great. And the sorry, I'm going down my list here. Oh, him sitting with Saracen in the Alamo Freeze trying to go through plays and screwing up and like apologizing in addition to Saracen for the fries.
Yeah, right. Landry, super solid. Definitely the comic relief of the Saracen pair for sure. And then we have Buddy Garrity, who is really stepping into the sleazeball role already.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Buddy Garrity's becoming a real sleazeball. He's, talking trash right after church.
Yep.
Dude sucks.
Yeah. Kind of 3 different occasions of being a sleazeball in this episode. After church, and then I think they must be coaches having lunch with the boosters or something. Buddy Garrity's there. Mayor Rodell's there, and Buddy like kind of sticks up for Coach, but then really just backhand like slams him at the same time, or like not necessarily slams, but puts the pressure on, like don't screw this up. And then Coach meets Buddy at the car dealership, I think Buddy's office, and Buddy's going through this thing about how they're friends. They've been friends a long time. But as he does that is basically, again, saying, don't screw this up.
Yeah.
Over and over again. All right. Should we move into our segments?
Yes. Let's move into the segments.
All right. Let's start with the Julie Taylor hate-o-meter. Let's just get that out of the way. I don't feel like we have a ton to work with here this week.
Yeah, I don't hate Julie very much. She didn't have a whole lot to do this episode. I actually can't really remember anything that she did at all.
No,
so
really nothing. She was in the house when Coach and Tammy were having some interactions, but that was about it. So
I think a flat 0.
Yep.
I'll go. I don't hate her this episode.
Good for you, Julie. We don't hate you. The Big Rig Beer Tally, like I said, I believe we have to give him at least 2 for being drunk. Obviously, he drank more, but we can't, in good conscience, give him a like 5 or whatever. So we can spot him 2 there, and then there's at least 2 bottles in that paper bag because they clinked together. So I believe that is...
Say 4 confirmed.
Yep. And last week we had 8, so we are up to 12 beers for Riggins on the season.
Riggins got a nice light buzz going.
Yep. A full 12 pack so far. Coach Taylor inspo rating. He really stepped it up this week.
Yeah, I have just the word high in all caps written on my sheet for the coach inspiration. It's hard to give them a 10. 10's, extremely high, obviously.
Right. They're going. They're going to go places this season, and so I think it's hard to give them a 10 on the second game of the week. But it was.
I think a good like 7.75.
I was going to say 7. So yeah, let's rock with that. I agree. It was very good. The only thing holding me back from going higher is just I feel like we need room.
Yeah, because he's going to hit a 10, and you don't want it to be oversaturated with 10. So I agree with you. We'll compromise on a 7. I like that.
Yep. The pregame speech, much better. Not fantastic, much better, but really the taking Matt to the field late at night, it doesn't get much more inspiring than that. And yeah, as we've said, we saw the transformation happen with Matt in that moment. Yep. So boom. Buddy Garrity Sleazeball move of the week.
Trash talking after church has gotta be.
Yep.
That's the pick.
Yep. Trash talking, like we said, spent the church service talking about and praying for a young man in the prime of his life who is now paralyzed from the waist down. And Buddy Garrity's moving on. What are we going to do on Friday, Coach? So, and I liked Eric's parting word with Buddy too. After all that was nice sermon, wasn't it? All right. Outdated pop culture reference of the week. Nothing really stuck out to me.
Neither of us had anything, although I'm going to go ahead and throw in the comment about Saracen throwing like a girl. I think that's an outdated insult.
That's good. Yeah. No, you don't throw that around like that anymore. That's not cool. So that's good. Yeah, throwing like a girl. Any music cues that stuck out to you?
I love the Tony Luca rendition of Deviltown that closes out the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about that song. It's an old Daniel Johnston song. I don't know if you know anything about Daniel Johnston.
Yep. Kind of that hipster triangle hitting stuff. But
yeah, it's a great old Daniel Johnston song, and I think it fit really well with how the episode closed out and what the footage that they played over it. So that is for sure my pick for music cue of the week.
Yep, that's what I had too. I didn't realize that that's who it was by, but yeah, that was well done. All right, and then our quote of the episode. I have a few submissions here. I think we know what's going to take it, but there are a few worth throwing in there. All right, I'd like to submit. We already said it, but when Coach is visiting Street in the hospital, Street asks, "How's Saracen doing?" Coach responds, "Saracen's doing fine. He's throwing like a girl, but he's doing fine." Which I guess we just talked about. So
I think there's absolutely going to be a quote within the next few episodes that I've already got in mind that is also going to be my pick, probably because I need to watch the episode again, obviously. But it's going to be my pick almost certainly for both outdated reference and quote of the week, because it's extremely problematic quote from Tim Riggins these days, but it's also a very funny quote.
So, it is. It's not ringing a bell for me, but I look forward to. Yeah, I'll know it when I hear.
I won't spoil it. Yeah, you will. You absolutely will.
A couple more. When Coach is on the field with Saracen, the whole exchange when he's getting him real pumped up, where he's like, "What's your name, Matt Saracen? What do you play, QB1, and how do you play it perfectly?" We'll see about that. That whole exchange was great. It goes on, but it ends with, "How much do you want this?" "I want it, Coach." "How much do you want this?" "I want it." "Then take it." Mm-hmm. It's real good.
I'm getting chills just hearing you recite it. I know that I did watching Coach and Saracen.
Yeah. It's a pretty inspiring reenactment. But do you have any more, or I have one more besides the one, but I have one more.
Yeah, I've got just a couple of them. They've already been mentioned, but Jason Street's quote about how Matt Saracen is different because he listens to Bob Dylan and draws pictures and stuff.
Yep, that's good.
Which is great. And we see, is it in this episode or is it in the next episode? I'll ask again, where we actually see some of Saracen's drawings.
Yeah, we do see some.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. So we get that extra layer of who Matt Saracen is. We don't see any Bob Dylan records lying around, but we do see the pictures that he draws. And then of course Landry / Saracen's quote and bungling of quoting the Red Hot Chili Peppers thing.
Yeah. Not better or worse than the Red Hot Chili Peppers, just different. The other super inspiring moment that I think deserves a quote of the week nomination is the team is going out from the locker room on Friday night for the game. Saracen's hanging back. Coach catches him, and they have this exchange. Coach says, "You up for this?" "Yes, sir." "Let me ask you one question. Last Friday night, that winning pass, did you close your eyes?" "No, sir. My eyes were open, sir. My eyes were wide open. That's what I thought. Let's go play football. Come on."
That was a good one. Yeah.
That was, yeah. And that's the name of the episode, good. Eyes Wide Open.
Yep.
There it is. So then, all right, I've got the exact Mama Smash quote.
Yes. The out and out winner for quote of the episode.
The out and out winner is from Mama Smash, and it goes like this. After Smash and Tyra get caught by Mama Smash on the couch, getting after it, Smash's mom is
trying to smash, if you will.
If you will.
Smash trying to live up to his name.
Gross.
Sorry, edit that
out. No. So Mama Smash says, "This to get back at Tim Riggins? What are you, a shrink?" Mama Smash says, "Oh, that'd be nice. I work at Planned Parenthood. You probably haven't seen the last of me." And then Tyra has some comments about being classy and using protection, which great comeback. Very classy. Yes. Definitely the winner, though.
Yes.
Mama Smash bringing it.
Without a doubt. Well, yeah, that's episode 2, Eyes Wide Open, of the still unnamed Friday Night Lights podcast.
It'll come to us. It'll come.
It's gonna happen.
If you had to give this episode, we should rate the episode.
Oh yeah.
If you had to give this episode a rating, first of all, what should our scale be? Second of all, what rating would you give it, do you think?
I'm a big believer of a 1 out of 10 scale.
Yep.
And it's going to be really hard for me to give a score to these, especially like this first season, because it's just so good throughout.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be like every episode's like a 9 or a 10. So
you're right.
I think the pilot episode is a 10 or like a high 9.5 or higher.
Yep.
I think this episode's a solid, strong 7 to a light 8.
Okay. Yeah. I am pretty similar, but I would actually flip that. I thought the pilot was good, and I would give that like a 7. And then I thought this episode, I thought was much more interesting. You start to get a little bigger picture, more than just broad brushstrokes of who the characters are and stuff like that. So if pilot was a 7, I'd give this low 8, high 7, low 8, just a little better, a little more. So that's where I'd put it. I thought this was a step up a little bit, but so there we have it. Episode 2, Eyes Wide Open, in the books. Super solid, super good. Definitely hard to, this is going to be touchy. I was going to say definitely hard to watch just one. I was supposed to watch 2, but that didn't work out. But yeah, definitely being reminded of why I love this show so much. Mm-hmm. It is still good. It is still, even having watched it many, many times, I'm still right there into it. So
extremely solid.
All right. Well, like I said, that's episode 2. Hopefully by the time we start episode 3, we will have a name, but we might not. But thanks for listening along. If you have any Friday Night Lights related questions or anything like that, we would certainly love to discuss any questions you might have. So feel free to hit up Anthony or I.
I imagine once we get this whole thing rolling, we'll have for sure like a Twitter page, or maybe, I don't know if we want to do like a Facebook page. That seems like a bit much, but we'll see.
Depends on how many boomers we think want.
We'll see what the demand is. Yeah, the demand is for boomers.
Yeah, but that's it. Thanks for listening.
Let's touch God this time, boys. Let's touch God.